All right, happy Monday, everybody. It is 2 o'clock. First video of the week. We are going to jump right in it. I hope everybody had a great weekend. So, as you can see from the backdrop of the market, not good at the moment. We have a full breakdown after lunch. We look like we had a curl, everything breaking down, some immense selling pressure, it appears. So let's kind of plan what we've got for the week and kind of jump into what we have right now so that this video targets our approach for the week and how we plan to play everything. So first of all, let's look at the NASDAQ, as we like to have the tailwinds of the NASDAQ as the largest index, completely broken down today under the 50. I went yellow below the 21. I'm going to go red if this closes below the 50. If this stays above the 50 on the close, I will go back to yellow, but still in no man's land. And I don't really like these touches, the undercut. The volume was a little bit higher than I would have liked on Friday that was here. I will say that NVIDIA reports on Wednesday, I believe, which is going to move the market quite a bit. I think all eyes are on NVIDIA for their report. Bitcoin, oof, good Lord. This is not a good drop. There's just no other way to say it besides this looks to me from a technical standpoint that this is going lower. Um, I'm not a buyer. I haven't been a buyer since I thought it carved out a low. I did buy admittedly here. I added a little bit larger than I normally do on my dollar cost average, and that easily got reversed. I got stopped out, and I got stopped out here, and then now here. And I got to tell you, the low that's in here at 74, just from an elementary technical standpoint, without me really pulling up my real technicals, from this would be the low that you would want to keep an eye on around 74. A break in that. Oof. And I'll say for some people who are just telling me that Bitcoin's discounted and they're buying it right now and buy the dip. Yeah, I don't think that's intelligent, to be very honest with you. It's one thing if your dollar cost averaging maybe weekly or daily. I understand that. I don't think you should stop that, but you shouldn't be buying when you're slicing this and your moving averages are curling lower. It's looks like a technical drip. I wouldn't be surprised to see it come down to here. Honestly, I mean, I don't really have much support levels. I was pulling this up. There was a demand zone here. There's a gap here. So, but like the term, you could sit here and say there's a gap that's going to get filled at 88. But anyways, probably not smart to be buying right now. If you're long term and you want a dollar cost, maybe a small amount. Gold today, kind of hovering around, still looks relatively clean above the 21. Yeah, right at the 21. So this is not having a major breakdown, holding up pretty well to the market. So not bad. So, all right. So we got that out of the way. Let's go into how we're going to trade this week. I talked about NVIDIA has their earnings on Wednesday. That'll probably move the market. So let's shift and move to what we have and how we're going to trade. Let me lay down one play. I gave you guys a play 2 weeks ago that has been working. So let me start off with saying I think the biotech space is going to be the space to be in on the long side in the coming weeks. I believe they are really catching a bid, so to say, and the volume is ticking up. I got into IMNM 2.5 weeks ago, and I gave everybody that play, and this is just absolutely phenomenal, just going up. I said on Friday this still had room to get in. Hopefully you got in. It's up another 7.5% today. Small biotech name, short float 18%, so decent float. So a couple things to keep in mind. Uh, this was buying that was done in March. And so the reason I say this is significant, when you see insiders buying at these prices, obviously they were right. You look at the present CEO, he bought there, right? And there's a reason I'm bringing this up. This is pretty significant. People sell for many reasons when they're insiders, and they usually only buy for one is when it's going up. So just on a great tear, uh, anytime that it comes down to that five, I'd say it's a buying opportunity. The one thing I want you to be very well aware of is they do have a reading coming up. Their reading, and I'm not certain of the date, but you do need to research this. When their reading comes up, on their medication, their pharmaceutical medication. If it flops, this stock is going to tank. If the reading is great, it'll probably double. So you got a lot more volatility on biotech stocks when it comes to their readings. I still think this is a technical buy. Actually, this looks phenomenal. It was in a true box here and it broke out of that. Also coupled with the insider buying a couple months back, I mean, it was just a clear-cut indication. So the reason I tell you the insider buying and to bring it up and we shift and we move is because I've got a new couple names on my list here on the long side. This is a small bio stock, and I don't know what they do, truthfully, 817, but it did pop up on my scanner over the weekend because I see this just last week, a director, John Childs, Gregory Bailey, these directors, if you see this value, that's a $25 million purchase last week in shares at 750. Now, it could have been an exercise part of a compensation package, but I see also another purchase here. And then on the 4th, I saw another one here where the same guy bought, and granted, smaller, $32,000. So a lot of insider buying. And, when it happened, if you look at the dates, these 13 and 4, that's here, right? And then this day, there was also higher volume, but that was on November 5th, right? So it's the day after this guy bought. It was this day that it dropped down. But like, look at this. Look at this purchasing. So this is on my list here to watch. I might take a little floater position just based on, the earnings are past them, but man, that kind of insider buying. I'm not saying to go run out and buy the house on this. This stock has had a true downward spiral. I'd like to see it make a bottom, but this is one you got to put on your list and at least pay attention to. I'm not saying to go out and buy it, but I think I might take a small position to wet my beak, so to say. And then another one for you guys with a very similar structure is another healthcare biotech stock. This one here, I mean, look at these buys. I mean, and even going as early as I think it was Friday, this guy bought $2 million. October, the same guy. I mean, this guy is just buying. Whoever this director is just buying the stock up. Earnings just happen. Man, I don't know. They could have a reading. I have this on my watch list. I'm going to dig into them. I don't have enough information on them yet to advise. Well, for the record, this is not financial advice. Um, this is for educational purposes only. So, but in any case, keep an eye on those. Now, I don't really have much on the long side. I've basically been stopped out of everything, and I've exited last week. Um, I am short some things today. AMD is still one that I have on my list that I'm still long. I'm watching this closely to see if it could close above this area. But I'm not advising anybody to go out and buy anything. I think you could just have this on your list. If you're not currently in the position and you want to take a position in this, I would keep an eye on it. I think it might give you an entry point. Beyond that, I mean, I told everybody I got out of Hood last week and then just drop down. Unfortunately, great company. I just think we'd love to see it make a double bottom, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're not getting an entry. Palantir, I got stopped out of, and another one. It just keeping an eye on. There's no reason for any entries. So I do want to touch on a couple things. So it was reported that Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett took a large position in Google. And so, there's a couple ways to look at this. One, everybody talks about there's an AI bubble, which I kind of do think there's an AI bubble, but then it stands to reason why would the best investor of all time, Warren Buffett, take such a large position in Google if there's an AI bubble? So stands to reason a bit of thought there. However, Warren Buffett, that is, said that he was taking a back seat and basically turning over the reins. I wonder if this is his new president of Berkshire Hathaway that took command of this position. I don't know. Either way, I'm not buying it. I own this in my IRA for many, many years. I added quite a bit back here, and I'm just happy to hold it. I'm not trading Google. If you want to trade it on a technical standpoint, it looks like it needs to break out of this box, which it looks like it did. I say that this might have some strength, but with this overall market sentiment, I don't love it. So unfortunately, the only other long name that I have for you is EQT. uh, and that is a oil and gas stock that I think pulled back nicely today, and I'm going to look for an entry on this. This is the only one that I have interest on the long side. I might take a position on this today. Um, I like it above, so I would like it above this wick, so 59.89. I'd like to see it close a little higher, and I might take a half position to start. I will not buy options in this market on the long side. Absolutely not. Not with the way things are trading. I go shares, but this is one that I'm looking at. Beyond that, I'm short a bunch of names. So let's talk about what I'm short and what you could potentially be short. So I pointed out how you can play SH or PSQ, which are just 1x short. I did buy both on Friday just as a protective measure. They are down. I mean, they are up today because this is short the market. Uh, so I think these two are viable for the week, low risk. You could either use that as a hedge to your portfolio if you think in the short term your stocks are going to potentially waver, or if you want to play the movement right now, which I do think is on the short side. I don't want to go heavily short because I don't think we're in a position to do that yet. A clear breakdown, though, I want to make this clear, a clear breakdown below here on above average volume and it slices this low, then I start to go really overly bearish, and then I will start to really start shorting a lot more names. One name that I did take on a short was Microsoft. I started that short Friday, and I took puts. So I took it an option puts. I think this is. I think I bought this with a I think it was a 475 strike about 6 months out, but I took Microsoft on the short side via options. I did not do a traditional short. We'll see how that works. I'm up a little bit right now, nothing to write home about, but I do think this is going to get beat down again. Not that I don't think Microsoft's a good company long term. I just think in the short term, yeah, not good. Another one that I'm looking at to short again, which I did short twice last week. And when I say short, you can take it on puts or a traditional short, but Cypher, another company doesn't really make any money. And when you really dig into them, they're nothing to write home about at all. Um, I think this is a clear breakdown under the 50. I think you want to take this. So my recommendation is if you're an options player, let it come up here and then shove it back down. I could even say that you might even can take it today. It could be actionable on the short side. So that's one that you could look at. CoreWeave, I got into this one on Friday on the short side. I bought puts with a 75 strike. I'm up nice on this 76, or I'm sorry, down 6% today. So I am taking this and I'm going to ride this one down. I think this one's good to get down into this area. I think it's going to get down into the 30s. So it's one that you could look at on the short side. I don't know that I would call this actionable. I would not get into this today. I'd wait for it to go green. Um, so the other ones I had, and I mentioned Rigetti, you could short this. I think this is actionable as well. On the short side, Rigetti, definitely a potential short as well. And that's really it. I mean, Iron is one that I'm looking at to potentially short again. I played it on a day trade last week a couple times. I'm not convinced that this is a short yet, though it did break. This is where I'm looking for the break under 39, and then I'll short that. And that's really it. I mean, I don't have much else beyond that capacity. I mean, there's going to be names in which you can short that are going to present themselves. I think you need to be flexible. For you guys that only like to buy stocks on the long side, I laid out a couple that you could float with, and if you're a little bit of a risk taker, some of those bio stocks. If you got into IMNM when I got into it, you're doing pretty good. Um, but make no mistake, I've exited quite a bit of names, and I am holding on to this name open. I still have this on the long side. I have not sold this, and I don't plan to. The 21 day is 762. It's right above the 21 day. I think if you're a long-term investor, this is still actionable. I think if you're an intermediate investor, I think this is still actionable. I think if you're short-term, this is probably not actionable. If you want to short Bitcoin, you can take the IBIT and buy puts on that. I think this is in a clear downtrend. So I wish I was more optimistic for you long buyers today. We're going to have some economic data which did not come out today that was supposed to come out. We're going to have some economic data this week, which should help us determine the direction in the way the market is going. I'm not convinced that any of this data that comes out is going to be any good. Actually, I think it's going to be quite the opposite. I think the data is going to be pretty bad. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be pretty bad. In that event, whether it will move the market or not, I think a lot is contingent on the rate cut when Powell speaks again to see if, in fact, we're going to get another rate cut. So rate sensitive stocks could potentially move on that news. However, I think the way you need to approach this market is either you have to have staying power, that you're going to stay on the sideline and let things form for you because you've identified you're not a long, you're not a trader that likes to go short. And that's okay. I like going short. For me, I look for these opportunities and I shift and move to the way the market and what it gives me. But I could tell you that this going down like this, and just to give you an idea, looking at the S&P, same looking chart. I mean, still going down. You know, I'm not saying it can't form a bottom here on a double little bottom pattern and go back up. I'm not saying it won't, but I'm just not interested. That's why I took some profits and things and exited some things because I'm not interested to see the breakdown. And now when I go look back at Robinhood down 8% right now, Palantir down 4%, I look at some of these names that I got out of last week. And, I saved myself a little bit of grief. Rigetti, Jesus, man, the stock is still going down. So, anyways, shift and move to what the market gives you. Yeah, and I hope you guys have a great week. I'll be back for the second video on Wednesday. If you have any questions, text me, write me, whatever. I hope you guys enjoy the week. Don't get too down and out. This is all par for the course. The market doesn't stay going up all the time. For you guys that are bummed about it, I mean, use it as a learning situation. Maybe reset, look at your portfolio, sell the crap and keep the good stuff. I mean, you don't sell your winners to hold your losers. It should be quite the opposite. So if you've got some losers, get rid of them. I mean, it doesn't hurt. You get rid of them, and you live to fight another day. All right. Hope everybody has a great week. Don't be a putz out there.